Disclaimer. The content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. We'll be recapping an incredible weekend that was in the world of sports. We're going to be discussing if a minus 250 today is the same as what a minus 250 was 5, 10, 15 years ago. And we're also going to be looking at how much you actually should be able to make on a single account for a sports book. All that and so much more today on Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel, which is part of the Hammer Bag Network and presented by Kalshi. This is, of course, the show where we bring you the latest and trending news that comes from gambling Twitter. I am your host on Circle Back. My name is Jacob Gramegna. I am a creator and producer here at the Hammer Betting Network. Joining me with a modified Monday crew is, as always, the CEO of the Hammer Betting Network, professional sports bettor Rob Pizzola. In the middle chair, we still have basketball originator Kirk Evans. And in the left chair, we have, filling in for Geoff Fienberg, host on the Hammer Daily, Jason Cooper, back at it. And I'm sure there'll be a little bit of inquisition against Jason as to some of the topics that were covered on last week's show without Jason present. We'll have our chance next week. Sorry, we'll have our chance later on in this show. But first weekend without football, guys.
Yeah.
How was it?
It's weird. I definitely want to say it's weird. I don't know. I can't, I consume sports very differently than I did when I was your age, Jason, which was like my weekends were just jammed with sports, especially this time of year, college basketball and stuff like that. But yeah, it's winding down, and I don't really know what to do with my life because I've tried to get into the NBA this season. It hasn't worked out for me. It's really hard for me to enjoy the sport. NHL, now that I'm not betting it much anymore, you know?
Yeah, I napped all day yesterday. It was great. I feel so well rested. Feel great. I don't know. Kirk, you were probably watching basketball though.
No, it's like having another Sunday to me is I don't really do any work on Sundays. I just kind of hang out with friends during the football season. So now it's kind of like I have another day of the week to do stuff, which is nice.
You have friends?
Shockingly.
Yeah, but it's like for me, even, obviously football just takes place on Sundays during regular season, but a lot of my Saturday is still invested in football because typically like circa entries are due, and I'm around at the computer during the day, make sure nothing happens. Establish the Run releases their props on Saturday afternoon at 3:00, which kind of like blows up the whole market. So I'm around for all that. So I'm used to just being like basically working and watching football all weekend long, and now I don't have that, and I got to find some new activities, I guess.
So I actually have made a list of things I want to do on Sundays, of like new hobbies, like things I want to do around my apartment, like things of that nature to like try and maximize my Sundays.
What's number one?
Well, actually, I got to pull up the list. I want to like reorganize my office and put up some paintings in my office. So like that's nice. That's number one on the list. We also got to do that for you as well.
Thing to do.
Yeah. I've done the exact. I've made a checklist. I just don't.
So I was gonna say the first Sunday I felt I just napped the entire day. So like that's off to a great start. Yes, exactly.
I've been mostly watching all these movies that are nominated for Oscars this year.
Watch that. Yeah,
I don't really know why I'm doing this to myself again. I used to do this when I was younger. I'd watch like all the nominees every year. Then I got to a point I'm like, listen, like I don't really know what the criteria in which movies are judged. I've never been like an editor. I'm not like a movie buff in the sense of like I just watch movies for entertainment, good plot, good acting. You know, some of the movies that I would consider like my favorites ever. I think other people would consider them good, but they're like I love Inglourious Bastards as a movie.
I feel like that's a pretty
hell yes.
movie.
Yeah.
That was kind of Oscar baity though, because it's like it's not like a real it's a kind of historical drama because it's like loosely based on history, but
Right.
which is kind of like
But stuff like that's up my alley. The Departed, like another one that I watch very regularly, which I like. But like I make my way through like the Oscar candidates. I'm like some of these are just either bad or snoozers. Like I don't know why I'm doing this to myself again.
So did you know The Departed is based on I believe Korean movie?
Yes.
There's another movie nominated for an Oscar this year that is also based, might have been a Japanese movie though, on a Japanese movie. Do you know which one it is?
No.
Begonia.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I have not watched it.
You should
yet.
watch it. It's good.
I watched it. It was all right.
Oh, okay.
Like I watched Marty Supreme.
That's great.
Marty Supreme is a good movie, but
I like Marty Supreme.
I agree. I don't like regret it, but I'm like it's not really anything that I probably will never watch it again in my life, type of thing.
I'm going to see it again this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess to each their. I've tweeted the rounds on Sinners. Sinners, in my opinion, sucks.
Horrible take.
Like
horrible.
I haven't seen that. I need
just
to watch
Horrible take.
I think like the whole like metaphorical type of movie just doesn't do it for me whatsoever. And on top of that, not that I'm like a vampire aficionado or anything like that, but I've seen enough vampire movies to like understand the general, like they can
Sinners
only
a
go
vamp-
in one way.
it. Sinners a vampire.
I said too much already,
Yeah,
but
okay,
like
let's not spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
Have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Sinners, and I love that movie. So if you love that movie, you should like Sinners. I think.
I don't love From Dusk Till Dawn.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, to each their own. It's very subjective. Movies are subjective.
What was your letterbox review for Sinners?
my letterbox review?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
Do you know what
do
Letterbox is?
No, I'm
it's
that's
like
what I'm
a
saying.
movie rating.
Yeah, you got to rate it.
You rate
just
it.
like giving it a rating.
It's not
all the
really
kids are on it.
common.
You got to get on
so
it.
you can
On
track everything you've
Letterboxd?
watched
Yeah.
and rate it.
Yeah.
I don't use it. I just know what it is.
I just don't even know what the rating system
It's
is.
out of 5. It's just out of 5 stars.
For Sinners?
Yeah.
I would give it a 1 out of 5.
That is.
wow.
That is.
Oh, wow.
That is.
It's brutal.
That is correct.
I would never
The music's
recommend
good.
someone watch
What?
it. The music is fun.
The acting's good.
The music being good. I've never
No.
cared.
Okay.
at
Well.
all
No.
about
Okay,
it.
Yeah.
Soundtrack does help a
watch
movie.
If that's the first line.
Soundtrack helps a movie.
Yes, but like it's.
I
Sure,
agree,
but
I agree, but
no.
like
If you're saying the music's good as the first point of a movie, the movie
Okay,
probably
you need to.
does
Okay,
suck.
if you watch the movie, you'll understand. How about that?
I don't know. I feel like it's very. I personally do feel like it's a very polarizing movie because when I did post a tweet thread about it or a tweet, I got very varied takes.
What don't you like about it? I'm sorry. I feel like we're getting off track.
You know, it's
like
the
what?
most Oscar-nominated movie ever.
Yeah, but
no.
they do that as like they just kind of hand out the
Most nominations doesn't mean
that
it's
they're gonna win.
Gonna
No,
win
no,
a
no,
lot,
no,
but
no. That was like
Did I say they were going to win? It's
I
the
know.
most nominated.
I-
They can't. That makes no sense. They can't hand that out. It's a record. So for it to be the most
There's
nominated
also
movie
a,
ever means
okay,
no
there's
other
also a
movie
lot
can
more
have that many
categories.
nominations.
Context matters a little bit. Bringing
and
that
fo-
statement up without context is a bit.
First
is a
and
tiny bit
foremost-
misleading.
What context?
The plot of this movie sucks. It is the most straightforward.
what's wrong with straightforward plots?
Everything.
Are you calling me a simpleton?
I'm not. I'm not. If you enjoyed it, it's fine. Everyone has their own personal preferences. I will say, I would never recommend that movie to anyone,
Wow.
and I feel like I completely wasted those
No.
hours because it was so highly reviewed that I would get to like 20 minutes. I'm like, this has got to get better. And then I'm like, well, there's got to be like some sort of twist that's coming. So it was the most formulaic movie. I honestly have no idea why it has hype. I cannot, in my mind, rationalize how there is any hype around that movie. That's how much I dislike.
Clearly, I need to watch it.
You need to
I
watch
got to
it. You're gonna like it. I know your type. You're gonna like it.
Well, rough watch there for Rob with the movie Sinners, but there was a lot of sports that were not a rough watch over the course of the weekend. Mainly, the Australian Open came to a conclusion. We had some phenomenal action over there. Two amazing semifinals between Carlos Alcaraz and Alexander Zverev, as well as Novak Djokovic, who put up the huge upset against Jannik Sinner. Djokovic couldn't quite get it done in the final, though. He did lose to Alcaraz there, the 22-year-old completing the career Grand Slam. Funny tweet here from Swish Tennis saying, the year is 2074. Djokovic has just reached his 62nd Australian Open final. Fans are convinced that this will be his final year being a top player. But it was amazing action, and tennis has really brought some great action to majors as of late. We also had the Farmers Insurance Open, where Justin Rose was a winner. Michael McEwen, M. McEwen Golf, said that Justin Rose might have one of the most criminally underrated CVs in golf. Rob, you agree there?
I do, yeah.
Yep.
Talk to Geoff. Honestly, I was messaging Geoff about this on the weekend. But like, stock up over the last couple of years across like professional sports as a whole. Justin Rose's stock has risen a mile for sure.
And final thing, even though, we still have hockey here. We had a Stadium Series between the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning with a huge comeback that took place and a huge comeback win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And after they scored 11 seconds in, it was really cinema, this event. And judging by all the theatrics associated with it, it really did seem like a cinematic sort of event. And even though there was no NFL football taking place on the field, we still had the NFL drama that we crave year round. We had a lot of different coaches finding new spots. Clint Kubiak potentially becoming the next head coach of the Raiders. We also had Mike LaFleur becoming the head coach of the Cardinals, and the 49ers hiring Raheem Morris as their defensive coordinator. Okay, Rob, a lot to discuss from here.
Yep.
I did notice you didn't add any tweets about the Darts Masters that took place, but
Darts Masters, there was the UFC. I saw some boxing clip where a guy's toupee got
oh my God.
So
when that happened, there was 3 different group chats that sent that to me. Like there was so many, but that was the biggest story I think from the weekend, to be honest.
You know what though? I have no idea who those fighters were. I'm not a big boxing fan, but that's like that's how a lot of people on Twitter should react when they get like a bad take in the past. Instead of deleting it or running, his hair got punched off. He had like a good time with it.
He ripped it
He
off.
just like
He
ripped
threw
it
it to the
off. He's
crowd.
laughing it up. Like,
And he won the fight.
Yeah.
He won the fight. Wow.
Yeah, him winning that's
Yeah.
Talk about a comeback story. Good for him.
I will say I'm back in on tennis.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a staycation this week. So Diana, my wife, was at the Metro Toronto Convention Center for like some conference or something that she wanted to go to. I'm like, let's just stay in the city for a few days. So we did. I would have probably never ever watched those Friday morning tennis matches if I weren't in a hotel bed and like the temperature of the room was not the best. I couldn't really sleep. I'm turning on, I'm flicking through. I will end up watching like 6 hours of tennis on Friday morning, including both of those matches, which were amazing. And at one point in my life, I really did enjoy tennis, but I just found it hard to keep up with everything. This is probably enough to get me right back in. Djokovic's speech after winning the semis was on like a next level type of moment, I think, for an athlete. Just pretty cool stuff. And it kind of like, for the first time in a long time, I connected with sport in a way that wasn't through betting, like not even having money on it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, he wins the first set of the finals before ultimately losing. I didn't think, anyways, to each their own on terms of what his chances were of winning that. But I quite enjoyed that. Outside of that, a lot of the other stuff, keeping up with the NFL news for sure. The Stadium Series stuff. I heard you on Hammer Daily in the studio.
Great.
Right? I know, but so
I know you're going to get to here.
I'm so done with like all the outdoor games now.
Okay, fair.
That every time it happens every year, it's really hard for me to get into it. And also, I know it turns out to be like a great comeback for the Lightning. They're down 5-1 in the game. As a neutral, I'll tell you right now, even if I was watching that live, I would have moved on to like Night Managers, whatever's on HBO now. Like, I was never going to watch that till the comeback anyway. So while it was like this great event, to me, what dominated my timeline this morning was the shot for cancer.
I saw you tweet about it.
Are you? I couldn't believe this was real.
laughing.
I thought this was a joke.
Yeah,
I was watching it. I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like some sort of AI clip, but it's like PK Subban making the introductions. This guy, a cancer survivor, they bring him out on ice, and he's gonna shoot from past the blue line into a small target in the net for $1 million that's gonna get donated to cancer. He misses. They donate $200,000 to cancer research, which I'm like, who approved this?
But I feel like that's like kind of common practice.
No, but it is. But it is if it's like like you watch College Game Day. you have like a student who's kicking a field goal for like $100,000 and, he misses, they'll give him another shot. He misses and it's like, here's your 5,000. Okay, I get this is like a
charity.
Charity.
Yeah.
It's for cancer research.
If you're already willing to donate $1 million, just donate $1 million. Like it doesn't. Why does it have to hinge on him hitting this like literally it's the size of a puck?
Yes.
That was
It's like a BoJack scene where they have money over top of a fire pit. And he has to answer the question right, or else they'll dump the money they're going to give to charity in the fire pit. It's like reminiscent of that almost.
crazy.
But like that has to get approved at like several levels.
Yeah.
I would think for that to happen. Because I just saw the clip that the NHL tweeted out. I had not seen context or anything. So I just watched this 3.5-minute clip. And I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah, to like pat yourself on the back to give $200,000 to charity is like obviously it's a good thing, but like when you're willing to give $1 million, I think that's just also just hilarious. Like
I don't. The guy that took the stick, I don't know if he knew if he was left or right-handed. Like, I don't think he's ever shot a puck before.
Oh God!
Like
he missed the net too,
yeah,
which is
he missed it. Like this is a very bad. Like he misses, and then like they should be like, you know what? We're donating the $1 million anyways. You know, congrats on your surviving. Like I don't know why that bothers me so much. There's like certain things that I can't really explain why they agitate me. I watched that clip and I sat there for like a minute. I'm like, this is so stupid. It's so incredibly dumb that it happened. But aside from that, I don't know what my weekends are going to look like going forward with sports.
we were blessed with a good weekend. So
The outdoor hockey, no juice.
yeah. I disagree with you guys.
No,
but okay.
How many of these have they done?
Okay, no, if you do it right, it's good. The one on the lake. Fuck, what was it? You know what I'm talking
Sounds like it was really memorable.
Like classic?
about. Yes, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. They just did one on a lake. It was really nice.
Where? You don't
did
even
one on a
fucking
lake.
know.
I
That's
don't
how good
remember.
it
It
was.
just
One on
looked.
a lake.
It looks cool.
You're right.
It looks
Completely
cool.
take back what I
said. I forgot about
Leafs
the
Red
lake.
Wings 2013 when they were
That
in
was-
Michigan.
that was cinema. Yeah,
that was
Michigan, that was
incredible.
cinema.
Even
Wait,
2013.
What year was it?
2013.
That was when
that
it was.
was-
That was like when they
exactly.
first
No, okay, they're
introduced.
overdoing it now. Like the one they
Yes.
did
It
early
should
in the
be
year.
like once
sucked.
a decade.
No, the
No.
one if it's executed well, it's good. It was executed well this last night. Boston, Tampa Bay. The
It's
guy.
like, who cares?
What do you mean? Who cares?
It's like you're playing hockey outside. That's kind of cool for the people playing. But
No, it's cool to watch.
It's a cool event,
cool
yeah.
to
like a
watch.
I don't know.
It's
These
oversaturated,
games
though.
here, like
They dress up. John Cooper looked like he's in the fucking
John-
mafia.
John-
he looked
John
sick,
Cooper looked like he
smoking
was-
a cigar. After you don't think that's cool? That would never happen if we
No-
don't do the outdoor game. That's an
no
incredible shot that we got. That's going to be circulating the internet for years now, and it's cool.
I actually did enjoy that.
Yeah.
He looked like Al Pacino as Scarface,
Yes.
basically
Yeah.
the way that he dressed there. But I'm with Kirk. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just like an old man yelling at clouds now at this point. But I think things become like too overdone in sports.
Fair.
Where it'd be just better if it was. There's a little bit of air between it, like a stadium series every year, where you.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that part. I just think that if it's executed well, it is good. That's what I think. And they've done too many, and the NHL notorious for not executing things well. So maybe my bar for things are really low. So when something exceeds the bar in the NHL, I like it.
Yeah, the fact that Detroit Toronto was 2013, like that.
But that
that's
was like
crazy to me.
That's like an all timer though.
Yeah,
That's
but
that
like
was
people
when,
could-
but
but
that
think
was
about
when it
that.
had juice.
yeah, fair.
That was sad.
But the stadium was half empty at the end of that game because it was so friggin' cold
Yeah,
that day.
that's
Yeah.
true as well.
Well, that's just like
That's
you got.
part
You
of
got
it.
no, that's just not having classic Michigan guys not having grit. You just gotta like Detroit, Joey Kanish. Like it's just you gotta have grit. They don't have grit.
Did you not get invited to a Bears playoff game a few weeks back?
Yeah, but if I were to
was supposed
have
to be
gone,
one of the coldest days.
If I were to gone, I would have missed the Hammer Daily, which I didn't want to do. The only option for me to get home
Company man.
was to drive home in like the thick of winter with like icy roads along like Lake Erie. I didn't want to die, so. It was either miss the Hammer Daily or die and have a chance of dying driving home.
I will say in any circumstance, saying I didn't want to die is an acceptable excuse. I'll give you that.
Okay.
I'll give you that. The coaching hires, keeping up with it. Your boy Kubiak.
Yeah, I don't want him to leave.
I know.
I don't want him. I would like a Ben Johnson situation where they say like let's run it back another year. But if that happens, that means they probably lost the Super Bowl. So I am torn. I'm torn.
I love. I think again, depending on your level of fandom, you're either going to like love or hate off-season content for specific sports. I love NFL.
I love all off-season content. I'm kind of crazy like that.
I'm pretty into it.
Yeah.
And now with like the Kalshi markets on where coaches are going to end up and stuff like that, it's just like another level of obsession for me. Although I donked a few, I may have lost a few dollars on some things that I thought were
Like what?
likely to happen. Just let's just say Todd Monken kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Did not expect that one.
I don't get that one at all.
Right?
Also, he showed up with his suit. Like, it's just, this guy sucks. I don't know if you can make an opinion on someone by how they dress, but I don't know if you saw his when he got invited to the state or whatever, the practice facility, going to the office. He looked like, I don't know if you guys ever see Nathan For You, but like, you're wearing like an oversized suit. Like, it was like, anyways, deep reference there. But
Yeah. That's a good reference. That one was one that stands out. There was a few other spots. I think I bet a little bit of. I hit a few. When I say I hit a few other ones, I mean hit them in the sense that I placed money down. Did not actually hit the wager. Just some donations to some other people on Kalshi. But you know what? Such is life.
Such is life.
All right, we'll keep it moving on the show. If you're enjoying so far, make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you're subscribed to Circles Off for more content like this with these shows coming out every Monday at 1 p.m. We have so much other content here on that channel and other content within the network. Make sure you go to the links in the description to check out everything we have going on at The Hammer. Next up, we're going to be going a little bit back into the tennis discussion here because of what Novak Djokovic was able to achieve at his age, how much he's accomplished in his career. We're going to start with this one, though. Mr. Leaked, at Mr. Leaked _ said, I'll never pass on the chance to make $200 in my sleep. And it was Yannick Sinner on the money line, minus $1,300, $2,600 to win $200. Except when it loses, you don't get any of that money back. So lost a wager because Djokovic pulled off the incredible upset, which led John Heyman to put Novak Djokovic is on the Mount Rushmore of athletes this century. Brady, LeBron, Ohtani, Djokovic, don't at me. He got a lot of replies. He got a lot of ats. So.
Yeah, he got a lot of replies of people who are like, Michael Jordan, and he's like, this century.
Which is why I included the secondary tweet, which he posted many times, this century. Tiger Woods, this century. Michael Jordan, this century.
Tiger Woods.
Wait, the baseball player?
What?
Michael Jordan, the baseball player?
Well, I mean, he did play some baseball. He's
Sorry.
also a,
Michael Jordan, the avid gambler?
Michael B.
Sinners?
Jordan. Oh, yeah, Michael B. Jordan, the actor.
Yeah, definitely not on the Mount Rushmore of movies. Sinners, I'll tell you that.
He should have deleted this and reposted this. Obviously, he got a lot of shit that people aren't seeing the fact that he tweeted another tweet underneath saying that this.
Well, it
Well,
says
no,
this
it's good
century in
because
the
it
original
gets-
tweet.
Yeah,
Oh,
he did say.
people just
Take it
don't
back.
read it.
People
Also,
don't read.
including me.
Also, it was really good engagement for the
Alright,
tweet, which is all Twitter rewards
this
now.
Seems like a pretty decent list to me. I think Djokovic he's got to be right up there.
Okay,
Like who else is on this?
These guys-
Phelps,
I think Serena Williams is a bit of a snub, to be honest.
Serena, yeah, that's a reasonable snub.
Michael
Usain
Phelps
Bolt.
for sure. Michael Phelps. I mean, he got 8 gold medals. No,
You could also
Ohtani
you could
probably
also
doesn't
say
deserve to be there yet.
I
you
would
could also say Usain Bolt, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I said Bolt.
I used to love when I actually worked in like terrestrial radio or was like on Sirius satellite. I used to love content like this because I could talk about these topics for like hours. Nowadays, I'm like a little bit older. And it's like, what are your criteria that you're going to say that somebody's on a Mount Rushmore? Was it like their performance at their peak? Was it the longevity of their career? It's like when I'm arguing with people online that I don't think Eli Manning should be a Hall of Famer, right? And they come back to me, and they're like, well, he's led this many comeback drives in his life, and I'm like, well, yeah, but like he had a long career, but for a long portion of that career, he was very mid. So like longevity to me works against him in that argument, but for some others, it's in his favor, right? And that's where I guess I get tired with these types of debates. It's because like everyone has their own opinion on what the criteria would be. For me, I would say that there's 2 locks.
Okay.
Brady, LeBron.
Brady, LeBron.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
And people
I
might
think
be
that's
like, LeBron, he's not the GOAT. He dominated this era of bat.
Yes.
He was basically like, for 20 years, it's like he's a walking finals appearance.
Yeah.
LeBron. And Tom Brady is not like, Tom Brady's transcended sports. I mean, he had a career where he played into his mid-40s and still won a Super Bowl at that time. Like, to me, those are locks. Then everyone else is debatable.
Yeah.
I personally would never put Djokovic in here because he spanned an era that also included Federer and Nadal.
Yeah.
And some people might be like, well, that works in his favor. I would say that there was like no face of tennis for a lot of that time.
And it was probably Federer.
Yeah,
If it was
like-
anyone.
Yeah.
So,
Djokovic, I think, was better than Federer, but if you're talking about like actual face,
right.
it probably was Federer.
Like, to me, it almost has to be a prerequisite that you're so dominant for all of your career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably
And-
Messi should probably be on the list, to be honest.
Maybe Messi. I think John
Messi,
Jones
yeah.
is a clear.
No.
What do you mean? No.
Like
He didn't have a
it's
long-
his
Doesn't
Again,
matter if okay.
His career's way too like painted, and he did too much dumb shit.
Yeah, he's a dumbass, but we're not talking about athletes who aren't dumbasses. We're
No,
talking
but-
about the
but
most dominant athletes.
No, but well, not most dominant.
Okay,
Mount
sorry.
Rushmore.
Okay, that's
His-
what I would consider.
Now, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is
Like, do they
exactly
have
what
to-
It's all subjective.
it's very subjective.
Yeah, I don't think it's that subjective, honestly. Like, I think it's clearly.
So what? A guy
like-
does crack cocaine and you don't allow him
No,
on
but
Mount
it did
Rushmore?
not. But he was suspended for multiple years of his career.
Yeah, but he still dominated when he wasn't.
Yeah, but
But we
he
also
clearly
never
just-
got to see him like his past his prime moments either. That kind of works in his
Yeah,
favor.
He fought when he was like 39. He beat Francis Ngannou, who was like arguably one of the best heavyweights in the
It's
world
true.
and one of the best heavyweights of all time.
I'm just going through athletes here.
Did John Jones fight Francis Ngannou?
Yeah. Or sorry, no, he beat Cyril Gain. You're right. Sorry, not Francis Ngannou.
Not Francis Ngannou.
But still, Cyril
yeah, I
Gain's still
just
very
think,
good.
but like we're talking about such high level people here. John Jones
Yes.
clearly has too many. He's like probably the best ever in his sport. I
Yeah.
would agree with that, but he just has too many asterisks.
Fair.
To
Okay,
be
fair.
on this. I agree. Brady LeBron clearly top
Yes.
two, and then I feel like
I feel like Otani's a big
Yes.
don't get me wrong.
Well,
Someone who can pitch and bat at those levels,
Yeah.
it's a unicorn for sure.
Somebody put Tiger in the chat. We just fucking said you can't put him in.
What? But Tiger could go in. Why can't Tiger go
yeah,
in?
Tiger. Why wouldn't Tiger be in here?
Yeah.
Well, Tiger.
This century.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this century. When
yeah, I
when
guess
was
Tiger was. When did Tiger like win his first major?
I have to look up. I'm
97.
Sometime in the 90s because we played that course in Vegas.
Yeah, but Tiger's run like 2000 to 2007 was insane. Nah?
Do you think an NHL player would ever make this list?
Like, yeah, McDavid could have an argument. Crosby also.
Yeah, but like so I actually think Tiger Woods should be on this list.
Okay.
Because if you ask every single modern golfer like what they grew up, nobody's saying like Phil Mickelson, like David Duval and got it's Tiger was the guy. He's the face of golf. He was like
I would need to see how much of Tiger's career was in the 90s.
I don't think a lot of it. I mean, I'm just doing this on the fly right now, and my memory.
I agree.
Terrible.
Otani probably should. Otani
He
just
was rookie of the
should-
year in '96. Okay?
Ohtani
Yeah,
kind of.
so like, this is tough. This is a hard
He
bar
was the
to
money
clear.
list winner from 2000 to 2013. Looks like 10 times. PGA Tour Player of the Year 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2009. Like
Yeah, Tiger maybe should be on here.
But you wait, hold on. He has some asterisks.
he does. He does. He ran out of his house, and his wife chased him with a golf club, and his car hit the fire hydrant, and then he had
Yeah, fair.
20 different extramarital things going on.
Yeah, but that didn't really affect his game. Like John Jones was suspended for multiple years.
Yes,
and just didn't
fair,
fight.
fair.
Like I just don't think he has quite the resume.
He also came back from all this and won the Masters.
Yeah,
like in the most absurd. Like
Yeah.
What?
I think Brady LeBron
Yeah.
guarantees. I'd say Tiger should be, and then that fourth spot we can debate a lot of
Yeah.
people. That would be my.
I wouldn't
pick.
have Tiger as a shoe-in by any means, but yeah, it's Brady, LeBron, and then there's a lot of guys. Phelps, I think it's kind of hard to say Phelps shouldn't be on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the year is 2025.
Yeah.
Sorry, the year's 2026 now, but whatever. Next quarter. Let's talk about the next quarter century. Who would we put on this list for the next quarter century? Who we think might be dominant?
Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler,
I think is going to
Like
be
Ohtani.
Otani might.
Ohtani.
Because the Dodgers are going to
David.
win a lot.
Luke Littler.
Wemby for sure.
Depends how
Wemby.
long he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually serious.
Who's
but yeah.
the next level of like soccer player? Like
Mbappe is
But
too
Mbappe's
old.
already-
Nobody will be as
mid to
good
late
as
20s,
Messi,
no?
Ronaldo.
Yeah, Messi, honestly, Messi maybe should just be
Messi's
on.
probably on this list.
But
Ronaldo's better than Messi though.
that's what I was going to say.
Like, this
we're
is
going to
like-
get into this debate now.
It's true. He is.
I don't agree because and I'm also very biased.
Does
'cause
anyone
Ronaldo
think that?
played for you.
Yes. Anyone who
lot of
knows
people think
ball
that.
knows Ronaldo's better than Messi.
That
That's
sounds
wrong,
not
but
true.
a lot of people think that.
I have a friend of mine who argues this a lot. He's like the one guy in our group that really is on the Ronaldo bandwagon, and like, his whole argument is like he's like, look at these Messi goals. He's like, go look at Messi's highlight reel. He's like passing the ball into the net, or it's like a free kick. Like he never scores a good
merchant.
goal. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
He's
man.
a Xavi Iniesta merchant.
Oh, here we go.
He is.
Here we go.
He is.
You don't know shit about soccer.
He's a merchant.
This is just like rage bait.
Those Real Madrid
when you're
teams-
arguing on Twitter,
those Real
this is the
Madrid teams
fucking
has
guy you're
pretty
arguing
good
with, by the way. He
midfields,
doesn't
man.
know fucking anything about the sport. It
Those are
just
two of the best
recycles.
midfielders of all time.
Yeah,
actually.
and Ronaldo's played with
creating.
great players too. Like,
Yeah, but
so
not to the
they
level of
both.
those
If you're a
guys.
good player, you're on a good team and play with great teammates. What is this fucking argument?
I mean, look, I rewatched 2 weeks ago. I rewatched which year would it have been? I want
What
to say
year?
2017 Champions League final, Juventus Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Real Madrid won that 4-1.
smoked them. I
Ronaldo scored
remember
2
that game,
goals.
yeah.
I think it was 16, but you're on
Maybe-
there.
It was a close. It was 1-1 into like the 60th minute, and then Real Madrid scored 2 quick
Yeah.
goals.
Oh,
Casemiro,
Real Madrid. That one was
Casemiro
Casem-
stud.
a bit after.
Up there with Xavi and Iniesta.
Yeah, but Casemiro never scores. He ripped one from.
Hey,
anyways.
scored this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm
this type of question, like I said, I
Yeah.
could talk for 3
Can-
hours.
can get you going
It can
for-
Yeah,
really.
it was 2017. You're right.
You know, where do you put like Pete Weber Jr.? You know, do you even know who Pete Weber Jr. is? No,
Who's that?
he's the. Who do you think you are? I am.
one of the
Where
best-
you put Phil
Well, like you
Best
start to really
bowlers
go
of
down
all
the
time.
rabbit hole, and you're like, well, you know what, Lewis Hamilton. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, that's fair.
and it's like,
Well, Max Verstappen is going to be on this list in the next.
I would say
course of-
Verstappen
Yeah.
maybe if he drives long enough, could potentially be there.
Yeah.
Too
Some people
subjective. Too subjective.
Very
No,
subjective.
no
One way to
love,
say
no
it.
love for Luke Littler. I gave you a shout. I didn't even say anything.
I said Luke Littler absolutely could be considered this list. Phil
Also,
Taylor
I love your
could be on
jacket,
this
by the
list.
way. You looks incredible. It's new, no?
Thank you. No, yeah, I got it for Christmas.
Looks great.
Thank you. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. We've got something big coming this week
Excited.
in the Hammer Betting Network. Rob, it's that time of year. Let us know.
It is. So since we've launched the Hammer, I've been doing this show, hosting it every year on Forward Progress. Actually, the first time we ever did it was actually on Circles Off, but we moved it over to Forward Progress, and it's our prop extravaganza. So the way that this works is we book out 8 to 10 minute time slots with an abundance of different guests. I have them on. We talk a shop. You know, we might talk about some non-football stuff. Then they're going to give out their best prop that's available. And this year we got 30 different props that'll be given out on the show. Obviously, you're going to see all of our Forward Progress creators on there. G-Stack George, Clive Bixby, Cleve TA, Suma, Austin Mock, the regular crew, Judah Fortgang, all those guys. And then we have some other guests that will just remain a surprise. Kind of like the Royal Rumble, you know, where just a random person comes on.
You're keeping me as a surprise. You didn't mention me there.
We'll talk a little bit.
What do you mean? I already talked. I had to move some stuff so that I was free for the time slot. I talked to Moretto about it already.
Okay, so we overbooked the show for one, so we're dealing with that right now. Also, like you came on last year and you could have given out any prop. You gave out the side of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I gave out the side the year
Like the
before and it
limits
won.
were like $100,000.
Yeah,
and you came on and
fuck
gave
the
out the
market.
side like it was good. So
and it lost.
yeah,
But I'm 2-1 on the show
I know.
historically.
I'm not saying you're out.
Where
Or
it sounds like you're
He's
saying
not
I'm
saying
out.
you're in.
I'm not-
Wait, what? Wait, no, I actually wait, hold on. I actually had to move a bunch of stuff for that though.
I'm not saying you didn't.
Do I not?
What the hell? You got booked midday Wednesday. You have a job.
I got a haircut.
He's got a haircut 2 to 4. That's what we were told. Jason can't be on 2 to 4.
2-hour haircut.
Well, I got to drive there and drive back.
Oh, okay.
Like the commuting time is what's factored in here as well.
What do you?
There aren't any hairdressers around here.
They are. It's close, but I just want to make sure that I'm not late and I'm not late for the
What
spot.
do you?
but
What do you tip your barber?
good
Do you?
amount.
Do you
Good
tip your
amount.
barber?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
They're in
Good
charge
amount.
of the way you look. That is
Yeah.
mandatory.
I always tip. I tip. Okay. I tip very well.
Okay.
I just
Unless
I tip very well.
it's a snowstorm.
Just I have
delivering your
a
food.
policy for Uber Eats drivers. It's as simple as that. It's baked into the fees. Go look at.
All right,
we're
gonna save this. We're to save this.
Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, right after Jason's done Hammer Daily. We're going live on Forward Progress. It's about a 5-hour show. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is not to like pat ourselves on the back. There's a lot of people who watch us in real time. The lines will move when bets are given out in real time. So if you want to get the most value out of it, tune in live. If you want to watch it after the fact, there might be slim pickings. But, I tell people every year, you plant the seed on Tuesday at the office, tell the boss like, might be coming down with something. Maybe I'll work from home tomorrow. You can get it done. You got a few days notice here. You can get it done.
Start coughing like around the office. If you're in the office,
something
start
like
coughing.
that.
It's the way to do it. Also, if I'm not on the show, there will be anarchy on Thursday, and I will host my own extravaganza. So.
We will figure it out.
Okay.
We will. I'm not saying you're in or out. There's only been one person who's really heated so far.
Now you got two.
Not being invited back. He just happened to also give out the total of the Super Bowl last year, which again, like you're asked to do a Super Bowl prop extravaganza, show up with a prop. It's like it's in the name of the. It's
I'm
like
pretty
a
sure I
base
also gave
requirement.
out an SGP last year though too. So it's not like I just gave out one thing, but we didn't count the SGP to the actual record because it was like 100-1.
And it lost.
Yeah. But if it won, it would have counted, obviously.
Of course,
that's how it works.
That's how we hold ourselves accountable here at the Hammer.
Yes.
But yeah, it's my favorite show to do until I have to piss about 3 hours in, and then I'm debated then it's a real struggle. It's a grind the rest of the way. Maybe piss bucket this year. We'll see.
Anyways, we'll keep it moving on the show today. A conspiracy in the sports betting world from Jay Parlay at This Is J216. A minus 250 money line favorite used to mean a team was about to kick the underdog ass. Now it means the underdog going to win by 15 to 20 points. Mr. Bet Patterns, who actually features twice in this show, completely unrelated circumstances, which I laughed at this morning. We'll get there when we get there. Mr. Bet Patterns replies and says, modern betting lines are actively shaded. So if betting companies know the average person is going to bet them at minus 150, they will make them minus 250, knowing the people will still wager it. Lines are built less on probability. Rob, is this true? Because I'm pretty sure, as you said here, a minus 250 money line favorite used to mean 71.4% implied probability. It still means 71.4% implied probability. Is that true? Do the betting odds mean something different today?
They don't. I want to just very random in regards to this. This tweet right here actually blew up. It got an insane amount of likes. I want to say this tweet got more likes than Emmanuel Acho's tweet that went viral. I checked that this morning. There are 12.5 million views.
What was that one about?
On Emmanuel Acho talking about how Shadur Sanders doesn't need to respect Todd Monken.
Okay.
Type of situation, right?
You got 1,000 likes?
Yes. which is hilarious.
It's impressive.
But I'm surprised that so many people like this and retweeted it. Odds are simply a reflection of probability. Too many times people think that because a team is favored, they're guaranteed to win in some capacity. If you bet a minus 1,000 that it's going to win every time. That's just not the way it works. It's a reflection of a probability. You convert that, there's always going to be some sort of probability that the bet doesn't hit. What the things that really get me are some of the responses, and you pointed that one out, Jacob, which was what is Mr. Bet Patterns or whatever, which already tells me enough of what I need to know about this person. But how some people have so much conviction in explaining a topic that they know nothing about. And if you just think about this in a silo here, right? That sportsbooks know the average person wants to bet the minus 150. So they're going to make them minus 250 because people will still wager on it. This basically would imply that you can bet the underdog in every single situation and you can print money. And I don't see people doing that. They don't exist. And if they do, why would they be telling the masses that you can do this? But it's very easy to check this. I mean, there's products out there that you can pay for. If you had access to any sort of line history, you would very much see that if you just blindly bet underdogs, it's not enough to overcome the vig that you're playing. There's no like answer in sports where you could just blindly do this forever and win. And it just takes like 10 seconds to take a step back and think about it holistically. And these people don't do that. And that's what drives me absolutely crazy about this stuff.
Yeah, like the Jay Parlay tweet, it sounds like he's upset about this. If you honestly believe this to be true, this would be such an incredible realization. Oh my God, the minus 250s now lose every game. I can just bet the other side. Like, I just don't understand how that doesn't come up as an option in his head.
Yep.
But yes, obviously it's not true. And betting the underdog blindly, he's not even talking about a sport. He's just
I was gonna say, is this football? Is this
ping
NBA?
pong?
Like
Anything, bro.
I like these people like fail to understand a very simple concept, which you would be taught in elementary school and then in high school, which is just variance. There's randomness, right? Like, just if a team is a 17-point favorite in the NFL, there's a range of outcomes there. There's games where they win by 50 plus. There's games where they lose outright. Like, there's a wide range of what can happen in any single sports game. But nowadays, when something that is like way off spread happens, it either goes to, well, it's very obviously fixed, or like, this never used to happen before. It's like, yeah, it's been happening since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of sports betting, there's been huge upsets. That's just the way that variance works. Sometimes more of them happen at once. Sometimes they don't. And your favorites might go on a prolonged stretch of covering or something like that. But it's just like the inability to think probabilistically. I did a video on this a couple weeks back right here on Circles Off as well. I actually did really well. And it was like just spur of the moment, talking into the camera type of situation. But the inability to think probabilistically just kills sports bettors. You just literally have no hope. And to think that a sports book is, just offering you great value on every single underdog. I mean, go ahead, bet. I mean, you can bet what you want with your own money. If you think sports books are doing this and it's not a real reflection of the probability, but again, it's not rooted in the way that the market works.
It's just so simple. They can't do this because if they were to shade it in one direction, the other side would be an incredibly good spot that people would absolutely obliterate. Like, you literally can't do this because it will always get bet back into place.
There's like this assumption here that 100% of bettors are rec bettors and the sportsbook doesn't respect their opinion. That's not the way it works. It's not. If the sportsbook respects your opinion and you're betting something, the line moves based off of that opinion.
I would say Mr. Bet Patterns is probably not respected by sportsbooks.
I mean,
if I had to guess.
Well, you'll see a bit later. Maybe some of the lack of respect there.
All right.
We'll see later on. Like I said, he ironically features twice in this one here. He does say something very interesting at the bottom here. He says they would, knowing people will still wager them because lines are built less on probability. I think one of the greatest things sportsbooks were able to accomplish is to use these other forms of numbers like fractional odds, like American odds, to disguise that there actually is a specific percentage probability associated with those lines. Something that you can see on Kalshi, actually, because Kalshi uses those percentage outcomes for their markets here. We have the Super Bowl up, where the Seattle Seahawks are at 68% on Kalshi, which is about minus 212, I believe, on the money line. So, I mean, going by this, they're not quite a minus 250, but guys, are the New England Patriots going to absolutely spank the Seahawks on Sunday?
To win by 15 or 20 for New England. There we go.
So
Lock
it's
of the century.
Is that easy?
Yeah.
Right?
I have my prop already.
I can't wait for, what was the guy's name? Jay Parlay, when the Patriots win.
Oh, yeah.
I told you guys.
But that's going to be everyone, right? Like the Seahawks are the, I'll say, quote unquote, I don't want to say they're the square side because the line's actually moved out their way since open. It's kind of like a combination of, it's just a lot of money on this game is on the Seahawks. So naturally you're going to have a lot of people who are just betting the Patriots on the premise that
Vegas needs Patriots.
Exactly. Like, take a step back here. The sports book generally has an edge. The sports book's edge is built in from vig. That's where the sports book edge is. they're not charging you plus 100 on every side. If there's minus 150 as a price on one side, the other side isn't plus 150. There's VIG, it's plus 130. That's where the sportsbook edge is. They just want people who don't have an edge betting into prices where there's VIG. Simple as that, right? Too many people lose that. And they think that they got to be on the same side as the sportsbook, but they don't end up on the same. They end up on the same side, but not at the same price. Is the real problem, and that's lost on people. The one thing I do want to say about this market, I'm a little bit cheesed this year on the Super Bowl because Drake May has something going on with his shoulder, and I don't know if that's real or not real, but where there's smoke is there fire type of situation, because it's very similar to the Sam Darnold oblique.
Hey, we want uncertainty. That's what you want.
Well, you do and you don't. For this game, I don't want uncertainty. I want as many things known as possible because there's such a vast variety of what's offered in the market that I could price it pretty accurately, a lot of stuff pretty accurately if I know what's happening going in. Now you have like potential throwing shoulder concern for a quarterback.
Well, I will say there was a video of him getting off the plane. He was carrying his bag with his throwing shoulder. So
That's good.
a little bit of a signal there, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not sure how much that
Humble
matters.
guy.
Well, I don't know.
Doesn't want to admit. He's hurt.
If he's willing to carry something with his right arm, you think
Yeah, but
he'd
if
throw
it's
a
like
ball.
a mechanism injury where like you move it on your throw.
Yeah, but think about how you'd have to take the bag down or grab the bag.
No,
pick
but
it
it could
up.
be on the
Grab it
bottom
with
of the
his
bus.
left
It could be
over his-
one of those buses that opens upwards.
Plane.
You get the it's a plane.
Plane.
But he could have
so
grabbed
it
it
could-
with his left,
Yeah.
put it over his right,
Did you see the equipment guys take the luggages off the plane?
No, he had it walking off of the plane.
Oh, so maybe it's under his
do you-
seat.
Do you think
Maybe.
the spread or money line here is like shaded at all to his injury, or like do you think it's factored in that he is hurt, or do you think if he was 100% healthy, this is what the line would be?
I don't actually know. I mean, so pretty much predominantly look ahead market on this game was 3.5. And then as soon as it opened, 3.5 in a lot of spots or 4, it just got bet Seahawks. And it's kind of just sat in the same range the entire time. If I was a Patriots bettor and the amount of, again, retail flow that's coming in on the Seahawks, plus what we know in the market so far, I would be waiting regardless. So it's tough to say. I think the game is going to close 4, would be my guess.
Okay.
I think at some point there will be some Patriots action closer to the game because so far it's just been one-sided. And I think at this point everyone's just kind of waiting to see.
Yes. Well, why bet the Patriots now if you can get more information on Drake May closer to the game?
And the reality is limits are pretty good everywhere for Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to be worried about someone betting let's say a huge group wanted to take out Patriots today. They go, they seed the market at Kalshi, Poly Market, Novig, plus they hit all the sharp books, whatever. There's still going to be books that stick at 4.5. Retail books where you can still get a decent amount of money down on that side for Super Bowl. So it's not for the vast majority of bettors that aren't betting, hundreds of thousands on this game on the side. There's no real advantage to getting down early on the Patriots, in my opinion.
Makes sense.
All right, if you do want to get involved with this market, maybe you're supporting the Seahawks here. Maybe you think, well, the underdog. These days, they win by 15 to 20 easy. You can get involved with this market now on Kalshi by going to the link pinned in chat, the link that is in the description, or by scanning the QR code that is on screen right now. Look at these. They all have their phones out because they're getting ready to scan the QR code up on the screen right now. Get involved with Kalshi. Support the show at the exact same time. But back into the topics in the show today. We're going to get into another conversation around sports betting. This one, I think, with maybe a little bit more validity to it. Jay Far Too Nice, who has featured on this show previously, just debates over whether or not he is a profitable sports bettor today, but not really as much debate previously as he's been successful in the past, maybe still to this day. But anyways, post that he's up 28 units in the Discord service, up $70,000 on DraftKings, and up a small amount on FanDuel because he has to use P2s. Down a little bit on exchanges, up on offshores. Good start, so I got to figure out how to beat exchanges more consistently, though. Jesse at Downside of Me says, I genuinely do not believe it's possible to be up 70K on a betting site, a sports betting site, unless the site is a strong reason to think you're giving it back eventually. I'm new to the scene, but I've been banned at around 10 books in my first 2 months, and only a couple even made it to 5 figs. Let's go to Kirk first on this one. Not having to disclose financial amounts necessarily, but do you believe it is possible to get up to $70,000 on a DraftKings, for instance?
So first off, this Twitter account, this Jesse account is like literally one of the worst Twitter accounts to ever exist. I really don't like this person.
It's almost like you when you started on Twitter.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
I would say people still think that about me. But like, and the way of thinking here of like something isn't possible because I can't do it is where a lot of sports bettors actually go wrong, in my opinion. Yes, obviously you can win 70K or more on a betting site. A lot of it has to do with luck, honestly, of like if you run good in some spot, or even if a trader looks at your account and doesn't recognize what you're doing and thinks that you're just punting. But yes, you absolutely can win more than 70K on a betting site. And there are like, I'm honestly not the best in the world at like disguising my action on an account. That's not something I would say I specialize in at all, but there are a lot of people who are really, really good at it. And a lot of them would win more than 70K. Maybe not on every account or even in like average on XROI, but like if you get hot on an account, you absolutely can win 70K, especially if the action you're putting in doesn't so obviously look sharp.
I think there's a lot happening in this interaction here. I don't know this Jesse account. I don't think I've ever seen a tweet from this account before. I've definitely seen tweets from JFAR before. So I think in general, whenever I see someone post a screenshot being up a lot on a recreational sports book, immediately I think to myself that it's a tell. Like, you're not being, remember when like Bo Wagner was posting those big bets? It's like, how are you betting this big on this site? Like now that type of thinking can be dangerous in sports betting because it's not everything is universal. And I listened to the this past Friday show was actually really good. The Friday show, I don't like giving those guys credit.
It was actually really good as opposed to the typical horse shit they put out.
Well, Kanish got more confidence, it seems like, after the rankings, the shipper rankings. He seemed like he was coming out of his shell a little bit more. Shipper probably feeling a little vindicated after he roasted his rankings.
So, I don't know what it was for me. I thought the Friday show was fantastic this week. I thought it was pretty solid. I guess Kanish didn't say anything that really triggered me this week. That might have contributed to that. But Mr. Peanut Better had a really good point. Just in general, when Jacob, you brought up one of the chat questions or one of the comments that we got on YouTube, and it was somebody who basically had been churning through a bunch of accounts, and they've now reached this point where like they're struggling to scale. And I think a lot of people in the sports betting industry with regulation who were winners got to a similar point. And Mr. Peanut Better brought up a good point about like how you have to change your style of thinking, where it's now, instead of just trying to beat all these accounts and win, it's maximizing the amount of dollars that you can win into those specific accounts. I do stuff now from a betting perspective that I never would have done 3 years ago. Like, not even close. And that doesn't mean everyone does. Some people are just content to win here a few K in this account. It's burned. I'll find other accounts and whatever. But there are other methods that you can go about. Obviously, account priming is one, where depending on what your tolerance is to lose into the account originally, you can build up a figure of like minus 20K, and that might afford you the ability to win 100K after that happens. You might just go into an account, and rather than betting all of your edges individually, you decide you're going to SGP them all, and you open it up to a lot of variance, and you lose, and you lose, and you lose, but then one day, you smack them for 100K, and then they realize, so there's lots of scenarios where you could get to where JFAR did. I don't think he personally is employing these methods that other bettors would, but it's definitely changed. The game has changed, and now it's not just about winning. It's almost tricking the book into thinking that you're a loser long enough where you can hit a big score off of them. So I would say that like what Jesse is describing here is kind of a limitation of how they're betting into the accounts.
Agreed.
And a lot of people just don't have it. You know, a lot of people just go from I was loser, I'm break even, now I'm winning. And then eventually that winning is not scalable anymore, and you got to figure out ways that you can do it. So I like topics like this, but definitely it's certainly possible to be up 70K on a site betting sports, without a doubt. In some cases, they might still think you're going to give it back. In other cases, you're going to get cut at that point, but it happens.
Well, I could see this being true from J-Far just because knowing what he does like a lot of long shots. So like he could have also just gotten like lucky with one of them, or again, maybe like again, betting like that would signal to the sportsbooks that you're not, hey, maybe this guy doesn't know what he's doing, which might be true, but also a lot of times isn't true as well. Like people have found tons of edges with SGPs and things of that nature. So yeah, Jesse, I could see the logic where it's like, oh, because I can't do it, you can't do it. But that's like a hurdle that I've struggled with as well, where I'm trying to overcome that right now, where it's just like trying to, make more, extract more value out of accounts than I currently am.
It's a complicated topic because this is sports betting. It's not the same as casino wagering, right? So, my friends, I actually had my backyard done in the summer. One of the landscapers, when we were talking, he bets himself, and he was asking me what I do for a living. I was telling him, like, I bet and this and that. And then he would talk to me about betting every day. But he would always come in and be like, hey, he brought up one of the guys that was previously on the Elf show, not Mazzy, like another one of those casino.
So the guy with all the tattoos?
Yeah.
Fuck, I forget his name.
Mace, Mickey Mace or something.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, have you seen this guy or whatever? He's making all this. I'm like, listen,
It's a good grifter.
these casino games are solved. Like the math is solved. The house knows they have an edge. Somebody's going to go on a 100, 200K run. They're going to record it all. They're going to put it all over their Instagram. They're going to make it seem like they're winning. But sports betting's not like that. It's not like that. Like where you would potentially get an edge in the casino is like what Phil Ivey ended up doing years ago, where he convinced the casino to use a specific set of playing cards, and right where it's like they agreed to the terms. That's really, or you have like some sort of, I guess in theory, like a roulette wheel malfunction where it constantly goes, maybe it's not level or something like that, where those can exist. But someone who's just going to go sit down and like beat Baccarat at a high level, or like some of these influencers are doing games like Let It Ride and whatever, it's not going to happen. So I think being skeptical of that bullshit is good, generally. You telling people, hey, like somebody posts, but sports betting, there's a lot of nuance to it that doesn't exist in these other areas of gambling that are very different. So it's complicated. I can see how someone would have that thought process, but there's more to it than that.
All right. Good spot to get into the next topic in just a second. If you're enjoying the show so far, take a moment to hit the like button. It really does help us out on our channel here. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you got a comment, you have a take on something we talked about, a take on something we're going to talk about, leave it in the comment section down below. If you're in podcast form, then rate, review 5 stars, and maybe follow us over there as well. This is the part of the show where we like to go through comments from the previous week's episode to see what you have to say on certain things. We always check every comment, but only feature the few that we really, really want to discuss here. The first one comes from Loathsome Lettuce. Says the Kyron Williams thing wasn't even a mistake. This is the people who are complaining about he ended on 39 rush yards because they didn't give him an additional yard when he got half a yard of gain. He says it's just a failure to understand how yardages are scored in football. If the ball is beyond the hash mark, it gets the next yard. So the play was snapped at the 6 since it was just past the 7-yard hash mark. Sometimes a yard is an inch. Sometimes it's a full yard. And usually before I go crying about a thing on Twitter, I don't really do that ever, actually. But you think you'd know the rules towards the thing you're actually complaining about before you do it, right?
Not in this day and age. I mean,
in the day and age when we have the largest access to the answers we want at any given time,
It's true.
it is now less than ever that we go seek
Go to
out
Grok,
the
Gemini,
answer.
ChatGPT. They can get you the rules in
Very fast.
Yeah, but it's not. This is not the modern like culture.
Yeah.
Especially in sports betting.
Especially in sports betting.
My only problem with this, he said sometimes a yard is an inch, as if like an inch isn't a lot. Like an inch is a lot, okay? All right.
Of course it is. Next up, we have Brett Wells, who said, thank you, Geoff, who isn't here today. Trust the analytics has turned into trust the science. There's a lot of information that goes into the little yes, no bar chart shown on the NFL broadcasting booth to justify going for it. Personally, I think the average NFL fan doesn't give a fuck about the analytics. It all depends on whether they convert. In my opinion, analytics has become a scapegoat for bad game management.
Good. I thought it was going to start out bad, but it
So
ended up
so
really.
did I. I agree with a lot of this from Brett. It's like nowadays, if something doesn't work out, it's just blamed on analytics. Sometimes there's situations where coaches actually don't use the analytics to make a decision, and it works out against them. And then analytics are still blamed. There's never going to be a meet in the middle on this type of conversation. But again, I think everyone uses some basic form of analytics in their day-to-day life when it comes to decision making. All this is analytics as it pertains to football is using information that's available to you to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
We all do that in our day-to-day lives, right? I mean, it just happens. If you're going to fill up your gas tank, you probably have a few thought processes that go to your head. Can I go here for cheaper? Can I do this? If you're doing that, going to a grocery store, buying stuff online, like we all use it. Even people who are like quote unquote anti-analytics will use analytics in their day-to-day. But when it comes to football, old school hardos just don't like the game being changed in any way. It's like, this is not the game I grew up on and this and that. You take the points in that situation. It's like, well, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into whether or not you should. Anyways, I'm kind of off the...
You're off the go for it to discussion. You've been exhausted this past month.
Also,
of it?
like I think a lot of the struggle is a lot of times, you know, the quote unquote analytics community doesn't always also agree on what the right decision is, right? So from an outside looking in, again, like an old school hardo might be like, well, you guys can't even agree on what the right move is, so how are you going to possibly price everything in real time or whatever? But it's just informed decision making.
Yep.
That's really all it comes down to.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy like how long this conversation's been going on for and how like little it's advanced. It's like
Because
this is the
people
same
don't want to fucking learn.
This is the same as it's been 10 years ago.
But like, I try to take a step back. Obviously, I'm very rooted in both of us are very rooted in statistics and like that's how we gain our edge on sports betting, right? So naturally, that's worked for me, so I'm going to believe in it. But like, if you take a step back and you just look at the way that the league as a whole has evolved, even over the course of the past decade, right? You know, penalty on the extra point, team now goes for 2 on that situation where they used to kick the extra point all the time. Down 14, you score a touchdown. More and more teams are starting to go for 2. You're seeing it happen across the league. And I'm not saying NFL teams never get things wrong, because they certainly do, but they've obviously put a lot
For sure.
into getting any little edge that they possibly can. And when you're seeing the whole league move away some way, you know, when shifting first started happening in baseball, there would be a hit to like a gap where a defender, somewhere where a defender would be, and they'd be like, look, the shift is failing. But now it's just universally accepted that these guys are getting moved into spots where it's more likely, the ball's more likely to be hit. They move after each pitch sometimes, depending on what the pitcher's going to throw next. So over time, it's just become more and more universally accepted. And I just feel like, you know, if I'm going to keep arguing with people about it, I'm not going to change their mind. And over time, the league is just moving more and more towards this anyways.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of all the proof you really need that these things need to be factored in.
Like someone saying foul up 3 needs to be accepted now.
In basketball.
Well, that like is insane that anyone doesn't do that, but they need to change the rules
Yeah.
to make it
Yeah.
that can't be a foul
Okay.
because it's horrible for the game. But Yes, that's a very, very obvious play.
Yeah. I mean, you sorry to keep this running forever. I'll stop. But like, the Golden State Warriors are a prime example of like. Yeah. I'm not saying that they didn't have great players. They did, but they were very quick to recognize that. Hey, listen, like these mid-range fucking shots are not. They're what a 2-pointer right for a step in front of the 3-point line is worth the same as a layup or a dunk. Yeah. Why are we shooting from over here? Just take a step back and shoot. And then eventually, the entire league just did that. And now we have a problem in the NBA where there's like no mid-range game. At least to me, I find it a little bit. I don't want to say boring is the right term, but like.
I know what you mean. I don't want to say less athletic, but like those mid-range shots are always like.
It's almost like they need to reinvent the game a little bit so that the entire court is in play again.
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't like how many threes are being shot.
Yeah.
From there.
Yeah.
Next, they're going to come for the floater. That'll be the new villainized shot in the future. You'll wait and see. Last one. JJ Hudda says, some bad things have happened to Jason's food on the way. John Reed said, we're going to say the same thing as Rob. If people choose to work in the snow, you should feel good about giving them work. Geoff is also right. I didn't order Sunday, but I ordered Monday and tipped extra. 1 week. It's crazy. It's only been 1 week since this conversation where Jason, you mistimed your text to Geoff and it got aired out on the Monday edition of Circle Back. You did not tip your Uber Eats delivery person in the largest snowfall in the city of Toronto's history.
It was the largest snowfall in history?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know
in the
that.
city's history. Yeah.
I didn't know that's
and you did not tip the driver who braved the storm to bring you your
something to
fucking
brave the storm,
food.
Please. He chose to work, which also is what I didn't get. What Geoff is like, how like you guys are saying it's bad to order food. It's like you're giving them work. They chose.
It's like a supply and demand thing for me. If I'm not ordering, they're not working.
There was a video that came out about these Uber drivers saying they were so happy about the snowstorm because they made so much more money because so many people were ordering food.
Well, I agree with that part.
That's because they're getting a lot more tips.
Yeah, exactly. People are tipping that.
So, but also, JJ Hudda, shout out Love Island for those who know. No,
I don't know.
Okay, anyways,
I gotta tell you, man, you are one of a kind. This is a prime example, right? Of if you're not gonna tip the Uber driver, I think it's a scumbag move.
Sure.
But you know what? If you keep it to yourself,
okay,
no one's ever gonna know. You knowingly texted this to another human.
Yeah, to Geoff, because I would consider myself to be friends with Geoff. I don't know if he would consider the same thing, but I would consider us to be friends. Okay, I was watching the show. I was late to watching the show because I drove home. I started watching the show, and when I saw that segment, I texted Geoff saying, "Yeah," but I didn't say tell the entire world about it. I didn't say I proudly do it.
Egregious.
Yeah.
That he felt like he was doing a service to the world to tell everyone.
That's fair.
The fact that you consider Geoff a friend, but don't know that by texting that he's going to say it out loud.
I also
on
didn't
air.
know you guys were still on air at the time.
Your friendship is probably.
I didn't know you guys were still on air at the time. Maybe I wouldn't have done it if I knew you guys were still on air. I don't know. I just listen. It's baked into the cost. I tip well. I tip very well. You think I would be a regular somewhere if I don't tip well? You think they would invite me, or not invite me back, but you think they'd be happy giving me service at my
what, do you think they're
local
stop
establishment?
You come to
no, but you think they would give me?
You'd have to be one of the worst tippers in the world for them to start denying you service.
Yeah, well, not that they would deny me service, but you don't think I'm a regular at places. I tip very well. Even yesterday, how about this one? Went for half-price wings. Person beside us gave 0 tip, and the bartender complained, so I gave him 100% tip. It was half-price wings. It was a cheap bill. I don't care. I'll tip him well. I'll do that because you know what? That guy's slaving away behind the bar all day, working hard. Okay, not cozied up in the car, driving 700 meters.
In Toronto,
like
they're
a tout
often not
right
in
now.
cars.
Do you listen to how you sound? It's like, well, I never tipped this guy before, but there was this other time. It's like the guy who goes 0-4 in his last 4 picks and wins one. He's like 1-0.
When I go to a bar and I pay for half-price wings, and let's say the bill's $30, okay? Then they add in a service fee. I'm probably not going to tip because that's what the service fee is. And they also had a delivery fee as well.
The service fee covers other aspects. The service fee does not necessarily go directly to the driver.
There's a service fee and a delivery fee, which accounted for
because
30%
the restaurants
of that bill.
because the restaurants themselves get charged a fee by Uber in order to sell food on their service.
Uber
they cannot be
It's
not on Uber because their business would tank because so much business is driven through Uber. They're in a
It seems like
chokehold there.
the issue should be with Uber and not with me.
This
This is blinding the issue
If
here,
you
and we
have
should
an-
focus on Uber.
If you have an issue with Uber, you shouldn't use their products. You shouldn't use it
Well,
and
it's
take your
snowing.
anger out on the poor guy crawling through 60
crawl-
centimeters of snow, bringing you your fucking lunch.
He didn't
There's
crawl
no way
through
you
the snow.
shoveled before he came out.
I live in in a condo,
Okay, that's true.
so I know I did not shovel. I did make him come to the door.
I
though.
always go out and I salt.
Oh
down
my
the-
God. You made him come to the door. You couldn't even
Always.
fucking meet him in the lobby.
Oh, and my place is very hard to get
Monster.
to figure out because I live on the first floor, but the main entrance is on the second floor. So I always get people saying, "Where is this place?" I
So
said,
you
"It's
live
on
in the
first."
basement, your mother's basement.
Yeah, we can call it that.
Basement.
Sure.
Live on the first floor,
God.
but
Can't even meet
It's because
them
I
in the
live on a
lobby.
hill.
never heard.
Can't even
never
look
heard
them
of
in the
that.
eye knowing you didn't give a tip. You should leave it
I
at my
always
door.
say
I'm
leave
not
it to
coming
our-
out until you're gone.
I would just make sure that the bag is still sealed every time.
I
you
always make sure.
Yeah, you
but they
should,
also don't
because
see
there's
until
definitely
after.
You're a candidate for spit in the
Spit in
food.
the food for sure. But yeah, I think
Listen.
they'll only see after.
It took an hour and a half for me to get my food anyway, so it's not like
Because it was
this-
the biggest storm in Toronto history.
yeah, but he chose to work.
Yeah,
But
but
that's
the
why it
order
took
time
long.
doesn't affect the tip.
He was trying to get it as fast as possible.
See, okay, I have like some takes about tipping. I tip very well, but we're not going to get into that right now.
I agree.
Huckleberry Finn says companies that make millions need to pay their employees more. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
shouldn't take your
I'm
anger
not
out on the
Yes.
employee
I'm not
here.
absolving them.
I
No,
agree,
but it
that's
sounds like
not
you
an
are.
If you have an
It's not- it
issue,
sounds like you
don't
guys
use
are.
Uber. Go get the
Yeah.
food yourself
Yeah.
in Toronto.
But
It's
it
not
was-
like
you guys
there's
are-
any
you guys
food.
are-
Yeah, Jacob's 100%.
There's a restaurant probably within 10 steps of your door of your apartment,
Yeah.
probably.
No, he'd have to go out to the second floor and then back
Yes.
out.
And
There's probably within 300 meters. There's
300
got to
meters,
be
yes.
5 at least.
But
places
you're
you could
missing
get
the
food
entire
from.
point. It was snowing.
Of course. Not like you're gonna go out in the storm.
Exactly.
All right. Like, we've exhausted the conversation enough. So it's time to keep it moving on this show. We're going to talk about this one here from Dave Portnoy. He says, "This is why you can't bet on horses." And I love betting on horses. And it's a quote tweet of this one from @Jackpot Kim, who says, "The payout on the winner dropped 70% at Tampa Bay Downs, Florida cause." I don't really know what's going on here. I hope Rob can help me out because he's familiar with horse racing. So can you describe what happened here in this photo?
Yeah. So again, I also want to iterate that I'm not a horse racing expert. I do bet on horses. I go to Woodbine Racetrack a lot during the summer. I have some experience with the space. So horse racing is pari-mutuel style betting. You don't know when you go place a bet because you see the odds on the odds board. It doesn't mean that that's what the bet is going to pay out when you go cash the ticket later on. And what we've seen a lot in recent years is the sharp syndicates that are betting horse racing wait to the absolute last minute and then pump a ton of money into the market. So in theory, you can go bet a horse at like 7-2 and then it wins and you go cash your ticket and it's even money because so much money came in last minute and you didn't know. So you don't really know the price that you're betting at in a lot of instances. And I think that's why Portnoy is pretty upset here.
All right, so Dave Portnoy says, I love betting on it, but it's like betting on the Pats at +180 money line to win Super Bowl 30 seconds before kickoff. Then once the game starts, it's even money. I want to bet it. I miss it. Just make it fair again. I feel like if you're like, you know what you're betting on here. Do you not?
But it is what he's saying is exactly what would happen. Imagine you bet on the Patriots +180. And then you go to cash your ticket, and it turns out it was +100 money line. Because,
Yeah, I'd be pissed, but if I know that's a possibility, I just have to accept that.
I know nothing about pari-mutuel betting, but I don't really get why horse racing is like the only sport that uses that system. I don't know why it's not just like fixed odds.
It's archaic. I mean, so I think about how any ecosystem has to work, right? For sharps to win at something, you need retail flow. Right? It's not everyone can win. It's a zero-sum game, right? So I think of Portnoy. He responded to some people in this thread where he basically said that he's wagering roughly $10 million a year on horse racing, okay? $10 million a year. I'm going to guess, I don't know this for sure, Portnoy doesn't strike me as a guy who's getting rebates like a lot of the sharp syndicates would. to flood the system with bets. He's probably losing, and again, I'm ballparking here, but I'd say on the low end, $2 million a year on horse racing.
Agreed.
Okay. This is the type of person that you need to cater to. Like, horse racing is dying. The younger demographic doesn't give a fuck. You can barely get them out of their house to go to a racetrack or something like that. You know, you keep hearing, oh, they're, you know, horse racing suffering. If you don't cater to the biggest players who want to bet it in a certain way, then it's going to die. I mean, at the end of the day, you need guys like it's not only Dave Portnoy's money, it's his attention to the sport and him tweeting about it and him doing content about it and all this stuff that's ultimately going to, I don't want to say grow it, but at least sustain it in the long run. And I think with anything, you kind of got to evaluate the industry as a whole. I have seen similar stuff like this before, not from Portnoy in specific, but even other horse racing sharps who would say that the system is broken and needs to change. And it's a huge turnoff. I mean, I don't know why horse racing started with parimutuel type of betting. I don't know the history or the origin story of that or anything like that. At some time, it probably made a lot of sense to do it that way, and that's the way it's done. But it definitely is frustrating. I mean, it's one of the only sports I could think of where, like, you watch the race, you win, and you're waiting for like 7 minutes to see what you actually got paid on it. It feels very archaic to me.
Yeah, I just can't imagine any rec bettor would prefer this to just like normal sports betting.
You know, like if I don't know what the solution is, right? It's not my field of expertise to know what the solution is in this scenario. And I'm sure that, you know, changing it just to like sports betting where you have a fixed price, there may be a lot of issues associated with doing that, but there's got to be a way. Like, at the end of the day, if a sharp can make money, they're gonna jump in the waters. Even if it becomes a little bit less advantageous for them to do what they're going to do, they're going to adapt and they're going to move. What you need to do is make horse racing interesting again for the average person. That's from my perspective, for the industry to succeed. And everything I've read about recent horse racing is like handle is down across the board. It's hard to get people out. You got to do something different. You can't just be rooted in your ways. And as much as I think, you know, I've had my ups and downs with Portnoy over the years and his opinions. I do think he complains about a lot of stuff that he doesn't frankly have a right to complain about. But for this one, he puts a lot of money into the industry.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So I know from my perspective, if I was betting the amounts that Portnoy was, and I think I just won a ticket that's going to pay 10-1, and then I go to the window and it's 2-1, and be like, what the fuck is this? This is absurd. And it doesn't feel fair for the regular person. Yep. It really doesn't.
I agree.
All right. Keep it moving on the show then. Before we do, let's hear a word from Prediction Data about a message they have for you, the listeners here on Circle Back.
If you're a bettor building your own models and you're not watching Kalshi and the rest of the market in one unified feed, you're probably missing edges. Prediction Data aggregates and normalizes data from Kalshi, major prediction markets, and sportsbooks into a single API built for backtesting and live trading. You get live prices and historical data in one clean schema with no data engineering headache. If you want a trial key, you'll need to book a quick demo. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get your trial key.
Two more topics today here on the show. Now we have this one first from Yahoo Sports, who showed this video after a game, after a college basketball game between Tennessee and Auburn, where Tennessee head coach Rick Barnes on his team's bad passes Saturday. He says, sometimes I wonder if my guys are betting on games. So
Can't say that.
Kind of said it obviously in a not super serious way, but Jason, what kind of damage could it do just to even say something like this?
Thrown to me because I'm the integrity guy. I like this. It's just like an idiotic thing to say. Why would you ever say something like that when it's like stuff is currently being investigated right now by the FBI
in college basketball,
in the sport that you are in? Like, I don't know, maybe even, I don't know what teams are on that list, but like maybe even within your conference and you're talking about, that's probably not the brightest thing to do. I get you're saying it as a joke, but you're not like an analyst. You're not like a reporter. You are a head coach of a team even if it's a joke, you're saying there's a chance that you're like, just so stupid all around.
It's not funny enough of a joke to justify saying that. And it does, in the clip, it does seem kind of like a slip where he catches himself immediately and he's like, I shouldn't have said that.
Yes.
Type of situation. But like, you gotta be.
He's
smart.
like looking out to the side, kind of realizes he's clearly said something wrong, starts pulling back. Like, this was just, I agree. It was just such a stupid thing to say, and he realized it. It's like, when you say something and your heart kind of drops right away, you realize you put your foot in your mouth. He got it right away, and it was very stupid.
Especially in today's day and age where people won't even watch that clip, hear how it's said, and just see the quote, and that's it.
100%.
I also got to say, like, let's say you play for Rick Barnes. And you made like three turnovers in this game, and then this guy goes to the presser afterwards. Is like, I wonder if my guys are. It's like, what the fuck? If you're a player on this team,
Like, I'm trying. I'm just not that good.
Like it's just kind of out of nowhere. But I really don't like stuff like this because, to your point, it's just like more fuel on the fire.
Yeah,
it's I say this almost every week, but I'll just reiterate it if there's like new viewers or anything like that. But we live in a day and age where, just saying crazy shit gets you rewarded nowadays with the algorithm. The latest X algorithm that was put out last week really incentivizes replies over likes. So if you can post any sort of controversy and people will argue with you on the internet, you are just going to keep getting elevated in the algorithm. And all these like fixed sports accounts and rigged accounts and stuff like that, they get a lot of engagement because either people agree and they will let them know, or people disagree and they get into battles.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's just the way it's going to be now with social, and you got to deal with it. But anytime something like this comes up, my wife will get served this at some point this week, almost certainly. And she'll ask me if I saw it. Did you see this? Like, what happened in this? And I just got to be like, Diana, stop, please. Whatever you're getting fed, just stop watching the sports.
Click not interested.
Yeah, like you don't have to come to me with like, just assume it's no good if you're getting fed it at this point, because you kind of almost have to make that assumption now.
Yeah. I mean, you just have you're in such a position of authority there as a head coach at one of the top schools. You need more self-awareness. I know he caught himself, but there needs to be a much bigger self-awareness, especially with the ongoing issues with sports betting in college basketball as we speak. Last thing on the show, and here is our friend who returns, Mr. Bet Patterns, had a question for Geoff Benson of Circa and Spanky. He said, I think you two are the most legitimate people in our community. I love how you teach gamblers how to win, but has a question here.
Really weird preface, by the way. Geoff Benson is the director of operations for Circa. I don't think he's teaching anyone how to win. No, I love Geoff. Don't get me wrong, but like Jeff's not doing educational content. You know what I'm saying?
He will call it bullshit at the very least, which is like maybe maybe that's
he's not teaching people how to.
Well, anyways, both of you taught us early betting is key, and lines move due to sharps, which is awesome. Why did Cal versus Hawaii move from 54.5 to 51.5 and go over? Why did Broncos with a backup QB in the AFC Championship game move from -3.5 to -6, then close -3.5, and Broncos cover with a backup QB? Why did Indiana move from -7 to 8.5 and not cover in the national championship? Why did Indiana move from -4.5 to -3 versus Oregon in the Peach Bowl and cover? And a list of examples. We'll not go through all of them here. These are the handful of the biggest football games played this year. I know despite 39 plus states betting now on these markets, the same strategy from 2010, such as early betting and CLV, would stay true. You would think betting operations would have to adjust strategy, but you guys tell us no change, which I think is great for you to help us. And then Geoff Benson replied, brother, it's Sunday afternoon. I'm trying to enjoy my brief weekend before the Super Bowl. God bless. Why are these lines moving and still not covering, Rob? I mean, all these specific examples of big football games where the line moved and the team didn't cover. Why is that happening?
Yeah, this thread is basically like a museum of confirmation bias.
Yeah.
It's take every single example that I can fit, that I can find that fits this narrative and post it. brother, I can tell you why it's something called variance. Again, when we think in terms of probabilities. So when a line moves from 7 to 7.5, it's not a guarantee that the team is going to win by more than that or less than that. It's just what the price is deemed to be fair on the game. And there's going to be times where they win by 30. There's going to be times where they lose outright. Happens all the time in sports betting. But again, use some common sense here, because if what he's insinuating is correct, then you could just fade every line move, Fezzik style, at post, and you'd be rich. But where are these people? They don't exist. They're nowhere to be found. And like, if you find this stuff, there'd be no reason you'd be posting it on the internet either. So like, again, you can take all these little samples of stuff in a vacuum and be like, well, closing line value doesn't matter anymore, and this and that. It's like, okay, well, why don't we test this in a better way? I mean, why don't you timestamp stuff at the opener, and then when limits go up, and then when limits go up again, and notice how the error metrics improve over time, log loss, whatever you want to use. There's other ways that we can do this rather than just nitpicking 7, 8, 9, 10 games out of a sample, right? And saying this, and Benson's response is just like, he very clearly doesn't want to engage. Like, brother, log off, please, type of situation. But I don't get, again, a move in one direction is not a guarantee that is going to win. It's just people with market influence that have won in the past saying, we don't think this is the fair price. The fair price should be closer to this. They bet their opinion, and the number moves. And they could easily be wrong on that game. But, like, I don't know what we're doing.
And some of these moves, like Miami -3.5 to -3, Indiana -7.5 to -7, like, that is a change of like 54% to like 51%. It's the percentage differences we're talking about here are so minuscule that like over an 8 or 9 game sample, there would be absolutely no statistical significance based on these games losing. Obviously, these are all just handpicked. What was the score in Broncos?
10-7.
So the Broncos also covered that game. They were +3.5.
Yeah, but why did the Broncos with a backup QB in the AFC Championship move from -3.5 to -6?
But they were +3.5 to +6.
Yeah.
Then back to +3.5.
Sorry,
and covered.
typo, but I'm sure. But
no,
yeah,
but I'm
you're
saying
right.
out of his examples, one of them even covered.
Like, yeah, that's true.
So yes, this guy's just obviously an idiot.
Yeah, well, it's funny because he has like I don't want to say all the pieces, but like he has enough pieces to like I don't want to say win, but like be like a rec plus. Right? Like he obviously reads the content that Geoff puts out or Spanky puts out or we put out here on the channel. It's just like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him fish. So it's like, there's nothing you can really do about that.
I don't think that's the saying.
But
okay.
You can't make him.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him fish.
Yeah, because like you can't teach it. Like
You can't
Trying
make
to
him-
teach a horse to fish?
yeah.
Smart.
Cool ass horse.
Never thought about it that
Mr.
way.
Bet I want to see if this guy follows me. Mr. Bet Patterns follows me. Professional sports gambler, 20+ years of experience.
Ooh.
Can't argue with that.
Well, what?
Professional sports bettor.
Well, I mean, I don't. Again, maybe he has been a pro for many years. I have no idea.
Maybe.
Listen.
I would bet against it.
I have no idea. I don't.
Maybe he's following the advice. He just doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
He's just.
There's
I'm
people,
doing this and it's working. But I don't know why.
well, or there's people who listen. The whole CLV trophy conversation. It's like the expectation that if you beat a line, you're guaranteed to win.
So
that's not the way it works.
If you beat a line, you're guaranteed to lose. Am I right, Kirk? The NBA in 2026.
If you, someone in the chat, NBA betting with Fiddle mentioned that this is fastest payout. I don't know if you saw fastest payout on Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah.
this makes a lot of sense.
It sounds like him.
This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I forgot that account existed.
Yeah.
If it's a new account,
Yeah.
same guy.
Or he
Same
just
guy.
rebranded his.
Maybe it's rebranded. I don't know.
if his fastest payout.
I didn't know that.
This makes a lot of sense.
No journalistic integrity on our end. Once again.
Well, how would I know that? I don't follow that
Well,
guy.
I'm blaming
He's been tweeting
me.
at me
should
for
be
2
should be
years.
me who figures
I
that
agree.
out.
You don't have journalistic integrity or tipping integrity. Anyways.
He said a lot of
Well,
things
one
about
of
the way
us.
that's. I remember if you were to go through our circle back Google sheet, Jacob, and you search fastest payout, there's probably been 20 times where we've considered a tweet of his for the show, and then we've just never. We're like,
And look at this. Gets in twice today.
I cannot
for two unrelated conversations.
There we go.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. I don't. It really doesn't take like a lot to understand market dynamics. You know, I've done a couple interviews on this channel before. Okay, I did one with Chris Bennett from Circa, who at the time was the director of risk. He now is running the sportsbook as a whole since Matt Metcalf left. We did one with Matt Metcalf. We did one with Shipper, who used to be a trader at PointsBet. Like, unless there's a lot of people out there who fundamentally think, well, sportsbook wants to take my money. Why would they ever like tell me about how they make lines behind the scenes? And fair, I'm not going to push back against that and be like that's completely irrational. I think it's something that can go through someone's head, right? But there's enough out there, not only on this channel, but others, all sorts of bookmakers where they talk about how price discovery works, right? And the market is the market. Like they're just setting numbers based off of information that's available to them in the form of bets, right? When a sportsbook puts out an opening line, so many people are like, oh, like why did they put it out here? Why are they trying to draw so many conclusions from this opening number. Man, Chris Bennett was basically saying like, there's no thought that goes into that number. We just put it out there. We got like a dime, 2 dime limit on the opener. We see where the early action is, which accounts are betting it. We move it in one direction or another. That's what happens. Then they up the limits a little bit more. More people come into market. There's not some like huge conspiracy. And at the end of the day, there's going to be really good bettors that in some of these big games, they think they get a really good price on something. They bet the market, they move, and it's going to lose. It's not a guarantee that they're going to win, but their opinion is respected enough that it's going to move the number. So I will leave it at that. But if you're a recreational, look into price discovery. There's probably a lot of good stuff out there. And you can check out one of those old interviews here on Circles Off.
Sounds good.
All right, good promo for the channel that you should be subscribed for. You can go back and look at all this old content. That's great. And you can look forward to all the great content coming up in the future. While you're here, make sure you've hit the like button. You can also comment something down below to potentially be featured for next week. But we always love the discussion and check every comment here. Just make sure you use appropriate language so that it actually does appear for us to see. If you're listening in podcast form, then make sure you follow us there, rate and review 5 stars. And as always, we will see you here again.